Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Fuel R / RaceTrackDesigns iRacing IndyCar series. You know, last week we got to see a lot of kart racing at Silverstone. It was racing in the Legacy track, and today we're going to be going to Gateway at the Worldwide Technology Raceway. And this is going to be race number 11 of the season. My name is Sam Dyer. With me is Anthony McCurry. And Anthony, we saw qualifying. It was an open qualifying, and things got a little messy out there.
Group qualifying for the IndyCars here tonight, and it was a bit of a chaotic start as we saw everyone rush the track really early on, try to get as fast as you can. People were relying on draft laps for this qualifying session. This track is fast, this track is flat. They wanted to do a group qualifying thing, and this is kind of the first time I've seen a group qualifying session on an oval. It was pretty interesting. Cohen Evans got the pole. They will be starting on the front row. We did have someone crash out of that group qualifying session, and that was, believe I'm looking here on my relative, that was the 10 of Joseph DeCiro. He actually had a spin coming out of turn number 2, was not able to put down a lap, so very chaotic qualifying session.
Extremely chaotic as we're starting to go through our starting grid. Like you said, Cohen Evans able to get the pole, and then you got Bomber Schwach in second. Those drivers extremely close, but like we said, it was group qualifying. A lot of shakeup. But drivers in the second row, you got Jason Brophy, kind of known as the oval guy that's very dominant ovals. Won our first race of the season and also won back at Richmond earlier on in the season as well. And then you've got Matt Hollabot in fourth, Will Roberts, Barrett Rolfe, Danny Roberts, and Riley Thompson going to be there in your row and back in that row. And Riley Thompson, points leader at the moment, got the win last week at Silverstone, and really a driver that's looking to get his third win of the season, as his first one was back at Pocono. Then also you go back for 10th place. And Anthony, it's going to be a long race for these drivers. It's 150 laps as we continue to go through the grid. But these drivers are looking like it might turn into a 2-stop pit stop for these drivers for the length of this race.
Yeah, it's a really fast track. You go through the fuel pretty quick. The tires also going to be a bit of an issue tonight, as being so flat and being as quick as they are. Your right side tires are going to be really hot. We do have the benefit that it is in the twilight of the day, so track temp is actually a little bit lower than it would be if we were running this in the middle of the day. Still have to keep an eye on those tires. 150 laps is no short race either. You have to get settled in, get your head straight, try to hold a clean race and a consistent race for as long as you can. This is going to be a bit of a marathon race for these drivers here tonight.
Yeah, these drivers all going to be trying to cycle through and try to hold that inside line. That's the preferred line to be. This racetrack's kind of known for being a one-lane course, and we'll talk about this track even more throughout the night as we go on. But Cohen Evans in that 17 machine, haven't seen him have a pole this season. Group qualifying gave him that opportunity. We'll see if the 17 machine can hold it as the pace trucks off, and away we go here at Gateway.
It was a good start for Evans, too. Got clear of Bomber Schwach, and now they're going to fan out behind. They're going to go too wide behind for 5th place, it looks like, and that is going to be Hollabot going around the outside, getting around. I believe that's the 17 of Roberts in the mix as Hollabot and Brophy battle. Or the battle has actually kind of gone away now, but at the front of the field, Cohen Evans has just lost the lead to Kite Bomber Schwach. Give the lead to the 37.
That just shows how easy it is to make the draft work and make these passes and fighting back. Cohen Evans on the inside going into turn number 1, and bringing them is also going to be Jason Brophy in the 88 machine, the bright yellow and black.
Looks like that the middle line is actually the preferred line around here, as Cohen Evans has not been able to get anything going on the inside. Now falling into the clutches of Hollabot, which is going to bring Will Roberts into the mix with him, as it looks like that Evans has got a bit of a problem. There is something wrong with that car. Has slowed down quite a bit as the 17 is they continue to fall back. Now in a bit of a hornet's nest as Danny Roberts gotten by. Here comes Leon Quinn, Mitch Welker. Something is amiss on the 17.
Something is obviously wrong, as from pole all the way back to 10th now and continuing to drop back as the 17 machine just having issues. You move back up to the front, though, as you've got battles from first and second, as Brophy right on the back bumper now making the pass here for the lead.
Here comes Brophy in the 88, gone down the inside. I don't know if he'll be able to make it stick or not. Trying his luck, but the outside line prevails, and he gets a little bit out of shape. Here comes Hollabaugh to try and make the pass, and these guys are getting extremely racy early on in the stages of this race.
In a blink of an eye, these drivers are about to complete lap number 5. It is already quick, and these IndyCars here at Gateway, they can put on so fast of lap times that you just had to blink your eye and it's gone, as now you've got Matt Hollabaugh in second, as well as Will Roberts. Both those drivers quick during practice, now trying to get moved back up front, but it's Kai Bommersbach leading the way ever since he got the lead from Cohen Evans.
Yeah, and he's kind of trying to check out from the rest of these drivers, and I've noticed that none of them have really been able to actually get away. The draft is really dependent around this track. You're not flat out, but you're still very fast, and next to being flat out, definitely the draft is helpful, and here comes Roberts to try and make the move on the inside, ducks underneath Hollabaugh, but again, that middle to outside groove is still the preferred line around this track. Turns 1 and 2 are very close. They're actually the thinnest sections on the racetrack. If you're not familiar with Gateway, think about the layout of Darlington, except a little bit flat, and turns 1 and 2 are the turns that are the closest together. So people are trying to dive bomb it in into turns 1 and 2, trying to make it stick, and so far no one's been able to do it on the inside line. As I was just talking about how people were trying to step away, and Bommersbach is trying to find that advantage, and is actually kind of trying to step away as Hollabaugh almost smacked the wall.
Hollabaugh almost hit the wall where Roberts tried to make a pass. He was not able to, and really with all these drivers that we're seeing trying to make the inside line work, it's about getting that momentum off the corner. The outside line's just too strong, as Mitch Welker looked like he got into the wall.
Yeah, speaking of getting into the wall, Mitch Welker just tagged it a little bit. Everything looks like it's okay with that car. We'll have to keep an eye on him to make sure that nothing is stepped out of line.
Roberts!
Roberts around at the exit of turn 4, and that's going to be our first yellow of the night.
Oh my goodness, that was in front of so many machines, and they're all lucky that they didn't make contact. Well, we'll take a replay to see what exactly happened to Will Roberts, as he was running up in second and third place at that time.
Yeah, and that was going into turn 3 and 4. Something looks like it might have broken loose. I'm trying to see what happened on our screen. I think he just spun around. I think that was a self-spin.
Oh, and he ran right into Brophy. I think that's the only machine that might have made contact there. So we'll see if the damage on the 88 machine, as we take another different look and perspective on this accident. But man, hard contact for Will Roberts and Jason Brophy there.
Yeah, Brophy, there was nowhere to go. He had a full head, like a massive hit into the outside wall, and I would suspect that that might be an early exit for our 27 car.
Should be Bommersbach, who actually, I'm re-looking at this, our top 4 stayed out. Coming to the world, and when you hit that hitbox just right, you'll actually make contact with the other machine where they'll fly, but your car will take 0 damage from it.
Yeah, and Brophy might have gotten away with that too, and that would be lucky for the 88 if he were to get away with a net code, because he looked like he ran full steam into that 27. And so far, everyone is still running on the racetrack, except for Will Roberts. Joseph DeCiro, I don't think ever took. He did take the green. He has actually gotten off track. Something happened to the 10 car.
Yeah, it looks like he decided to pull off and might have disconnected from the server for the 10. DeCiro wanted a better day today. Qualifying didn't go well for the 10, and nor has the race so far. But the 10 machine still has a chance to reconnect into this thing, and with Will Roberts having an issue, he can still get at least one position back, and you never know. That was only on lap number 9 when we have that our first caution of the day. There's plenty of other times for. That means we're on different fuel sequences from everyone else. We'll be seeing our top 4, like you said, the 37, 41, 46, and the 81 drivers that are going to have to pit here within the next about 30 to 45 laps. They'll be thinking about pitting, and everyone else, they can go about 10 laps further.
Familiar with the pit road entry procedure at Gateway, but I noticed a lot of them were having a lot of time or a hard time slowing the car down and able to get onto pit road without spinning around. So maybe these drivers are thinking, okay, why don't we stay out? And that way, when the sequence does happen, there'll only be 4 of us going down pit road. We'll have a nice, cleaner pit road to go down. Not a whole lot of drivers will get in our way, and then maybe we can get out and kind of undercut the field and see if they can get back to where they were running on the track. But we're about ready to go back to green. Bommersbach, your leader, Roberts in second, and we're about to go back to some of the more we've seen. A lot of fast racing here at Gateway.
Yeah, very quick. We've seen a lot of drivers being very twitchy here on the straightaways whenever they can make moves, utilizing the draft and the momentum. We'll see how the older tires fend off the newer tires as Kai Bommersbach tried to get a better launch, and our front 3 got going quick. Alacio in the 81 machine did not, and he is holding up all the drivers with fresh tires.
Yeah, Alacio just did not get around or get going on the start. This make me spun the tires around. Whatever the case is, that 81 is not in a good way as he's gotten passed by not only Halaba, but also Brophy. Now under the fire of Rolf. And don't look now, but here comes a Hornet's Nest behind them. There's going to be a lot of cars, and I just does somebody in the wall.
Evan Adams as well as Cohen Evans involved in this one.
That looked like a really hard hit as Adams is still on his roof, now getting teleported to pit road, and just like that, we're back under yellow. That looked like a really scary incident, though.
It looked almost exactly like how we saw Will Roberts go in the middle of 3 and 4. Looked like Evan Adams' machine just lost it, and man, I mean, it was Cohen Evans, and Evan Adams was the one that had the issues of just being a victim to the 17 machine.
Yeah, it was a like you said, it was a similar situation to what happened the first time around, and Cohen Evans lost control in almost the exact same spot that we saw our last one, and nowhere for Evan Adams to go, really. You're running so close to each other. There's just no way for you to slow down in enough time to avoid that. A scary wreck. He hit the wall a ton, did Evan Adams, and Cohen Evans, you got to feel bad. Started on pole. Now they find themselves sitting on pit road, 2 laps down, potentially out of contention of this race, or even a top 15, although running in the 15th position at the moment. So a top 15 is still possible for Cohen Evans, but still going from pole all the way down to 15th on pit road. Not how you wanted to start your night.
No, it really is not the way you wanted it to go. And onto pit road is actually going to be drivers from 13th on back. Leading that charge is going to be I believe that's actually going to be Mike Hurley leading that charge.
Yeah, there was 2 drivers that came down. That was Hurley and Brent Jones in the 49. They came down pit road, got some tires, got some fuel. So now even more off strategy. And I believe Cohen Evans has called it a night. That 17 has retired from the race, so another one falls to this fast racetrack, and again, gotta feel bad for those 2.
Yeah, and it's you're just seeing it. Similar spot, just looks like getting onto the throttle just a little bit too much or too soon, and that's what's causing the back end just want to spin out on these drivers. And it's tough out here. I mean, Gateway has already shown its teeth, and we're only in lap 15. These drivers, I mean, Anthony, 2 cautions already. We're only on lap 16. This is wild to see.
Now, it was expected to get wild, though, because through turns 3 and 4 specifically, you carry so much speed through those turns. Like we mentioned earlier, turns 1 and 2 are so tight that you have to slow down a little bit more to get through them. So losing the back end is a little bit more rare to see in there, but you're carrying so much speed, trying to put power down as quickly as you can, and at the speeds you're running. If you've got a looser setup than some of these other drivers, or you'd like to drive the car a little bit looser, then that you're basically walking on eggshells through there, trying to hope the car doesn't break free. And we've seen that happen twice. No one has caused an incident via being hit or any contact. It's always been someone spinning it around, and it's a product of these cars going so fast. It's such a fast turn, and we're going to set them up and try it again, though. The pace lights are still on, so we'll go around at least one more time. Kite Bomber Schmock is your leader in the 37. the 41 of Danny Roberts, again, will be lining up in the second position. And those two are, I don't know if they're comfortable where they're at, knowing that they have older tires and are content to run around, maybe save some fuel, try to stretch this fuel as far as they can. Or you think in the back of their minds, if this goes into more cautions, that how off is my strategy going to be? What am I going to have to do later on in the race?
Yeah, I mean, the fuel run for these drivers is about 45 laps is the max you can go. If you're going to saving mode, maybe you could save up to 50 laps. So these drivers are thinking about turning this into possibly a two-stop race. But man, these drivers that pitted early, they've been out there now on 7 laps, and with these caution laps, you're able to save more fuel, and it's going to be different. I think the drivers that haven't pitted just yet, which is Bomber Spock, Roberts, Simpson, as well as Alacio, those 4 drivers might be thinking, hey, let's try to get to a point where we're at lap 40 or so before we pit, so that we're getting a little bit more out of our fuel than everyone else. But by that time, we'll see if the tires have equaled out or not. Now, the pace car lights are off. We're going to be going this time by Bomber Spock right now, running 3rd in points, needing a good day. And the drivers he's chasing, they're all running in the middle of the pack of Mitch Welker as well as Riley Thompson. So Bomber Spock needs to just continue what he's doing, which is pull away and continue running strong.
Bomber Spock, a good restart that time. Got away from Danny Roberts and Chad Simpson, now trying to stretch his lead, but Roberts has turned on the gas. He's going forward, and he's going forward quick. He's actually closed up the gap quite a bit through the back straightaway going into turn 3, and he's going to be right on the rear wing of that 37 by the time they get into turn 1. Already there at the exit of 3, we got a battle for the lead between Roberts and Bomber Spock. There goes Roberts to the inside, trying to make the move down to the inside of turn number 1. No one's been able to make that move done so far tonight, and it continues to be so as Bomber Spock, with the run on the high line, keeps the lead.
And here comes Chad Simpson with bogging down like Roberts did. It just opens up a window for the rest of the field to start making passes. Simpson able to hold that inside line. Hold strong, gets a little out of shape out of 4, but continues to stay side by side.
Yeah, and Simpson's going to be on the inside line of 1 and 2, and he makes contact with Roberts, and they go into the wall. A huge incident in turn number 1 as Roberts went spinning into the air, and that's going to bring out another yellow.
Sarah Tessum almost made some contact there. Matt Hollabaw's out of this thing now after that contact. All of them extremely skewed out after that contact. And, oh, you hate to see it, but it was hard side-by-side racing there.
I don't think he ever touched him. I think that might have been a net code.
It was completely net code.
Oh, that you got to feel bad for those drivers. They did nothing wrong. Hard racing, weren't even close to each other. And then Roberts, right there, you can see where he gets net coded just ever so slightly off the line, and oh man, it's just horrifying to watch something like that happen, and right in front of I believe that was the green and black car. I have to find out who that was running right next to him. I think that was Hollabaugh that got hit.
Hollabaugh. Nowhere.
Hollabaugh had nothing he could have done to stop that from happening. The track just closed up, and Roberts went for one heck of a ride.
I mean, another driver that things got closed up on, that's Sarah Tessum, as we're trying to get this replay set up for y'all. I mean, coming into this corner, as we're on board with Hollabaugh here, tries the outside line, and it closes up, nothing for him, and nowhere for him to go there. And you'll see in the bottom of the corner, Sarah Tessum trying to avoid. I believe there was also Hurley that tried to make an aggressive move out of the way.
Sarah just looped it around. I don't think there might. I mean, got hit by the spinning or the flipping Danny Roberts. I don't know if anything might have. I'm struggling to find out how damaged that car is. Didn't seem like it was doing too well. There was some crabbing going on as they went to pit road. So Sarah Tessum's car probably not at all healthy as Danny Roberts quite literally landed on her. And yeah, there was quite a bit of rear damage on that car. There's probably some suspension damage. Such a tough break for a lot of these drivers, but a result of hard racing, sometimes it just gets a little bit too close. And that incident, it wasn't that it was too close. It was just someone got net coated, and up into the wall and up into the fence went Danny Roberts, and we're back under yellow for the third time tonight.
Third time tonight, and looking like a lot of these drivers deciding to continue to stay out. as a driver that actually came in. That's going to be Riley Thompson, as well as the 09 coming in. So now it's only our front 8 of drivers that have either come in to pit and have older tires compared to the rest of the drivers behind them. But just based off that caution right there, I mean, we're down to about 11 drivers that still have somewhat clean machines that have not made contact.
I think so. I think everyone actually has been pretty clean. We've had let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A few drivers, like you said, a few drivers have been. We are down to quite a small number of drivers that haven't had anything happen, or they haven't been around an incident. But I think, honestly, the majority of these drivers, I think, are running with pretty clean cars so far. I wouldn't.
Yeah, I think the only one I'd be kind of nervous about might be Mitch Welker, who we thought made some contact, but based off of his last pit stop, looked like he didn't actually have any damage for that 76 machine. Mitch Welker is running 6th right now, 2nd in the points. He's only about 29 points back, looking for a solid day. And also, a lot of these machines are kind of hoping that Riley Thompson does not have a great day today, but somehow being able to avoid all of these cautions have been up front or in the middle of the pack.
Yeah, Riley Thompson, the points leader coming into this race, and comfortably running in the 9th position, just pitted, so that's why they're finding themselves back in the 9th position. But a fast car tonight has been towards the front on several occasions, and I wouldn't be surprised if Thompson tries to pull his way up through the field and possibly go for this win, because he's got a fast enough car to do it, and he wants to keep his points lead, and if any means possible, he's going to do it here tonight.
I was re-looking at some of these drivers' fastest lap times that have been placed all race long. The driver I just noticed had the fastest lap of all the drivers out here. That was actually Sarah Tessum. But after the contact, she's still in the pits getting repairs done, and right now, 3 laps down. You hate to see it for a machine that was running so quick up front. Or was heading to the front, excuse me.
Yeah, that car had severe rear wing damage after that accident in turn 1, and there was probably some more damages. It looked like that she was struggling to try and get any power down going down the backstretch, even at a slow speed. There might be some rear suspension damage on that 70 car. So hopefully that she can get back on the track, because she's still running in 13th, so she can bypass Hollabaugh if she gets back on track. And possibly, maybe, if the race continues this way, maybe a top 10 might be in the favor or in the running for Teston. But we're about to go green again as the pace car is off. Bomberschmach gets us back underway, and Simpson and Brophy, who we thought might have had some hard damage from an earlier crash, he's actually running here in the 3rd position. Nothing wrong with that 88 car. In fact, he's trying to challenge for 2nd place. Simpson versus Brophy going down the backstretch.
And Brophy coming with a head of steam, got the fantastic pull down the backstretch. Not deciding to get down low just enough. Gonna 4. Who's gonna have the run? Who's gonna make the pass? It looks like they're all using the draft, staying in line to catch up to Kai Bommerschmach.
Yeah, Bommerschmach is a sitting duck at this moment. No one's been able to actually get a big lead here tonight, as it's such a draft-dependent track, as we touched on earlier. And Brophy trying to go to the inside of Simpson. Now the inside line in turns 3 and 4, you can make a pass there, but if you get it on the rumble strip, it's going to send your car around, as we've seen a lot of drivers get loose down there, and so far, no one's been able to make the inside line work on either end of the racetrack successfully, and looks like Brophy's going to be another one of those drivers as he gets washed up, and they're going to go 3 wide out of 2, and they make it work somehow as everyone gets down the backstretch okay.
Barrett Rolfe able to successfully move himself up to 3rd place, as that was Liam Quinn and Brophy, the other drivers there, and sitting back in 6th, just watching all this action. That's going to be Mitch Welker trying to figure out how to get by Liam Quinn.
Yeah, and I don't think anyone wants to be too aggressive at this moment. We're so far away from everything, and as I just say that, Quinn gets a little bit out of shape and has to check up, and Welker gets around. Now Welker going for the 88 car of Brophy. Sends it into turn 3. Trying to make it stick. Gonna make it stick. Give 4th place to Welker. Welker's on a tear. That's a fast car. It's for a battle for the lead. Simpson to the inside of Bommerschmach. Can he make the move work?
Remember, Chad Simpson and Bommerschmach, both drivers that have not pitted yet this race. Everyone else has at least pitted once, if not twice. So watch out for that, as Barrett Rolfe able to get by Simpson, and now is thinking about making him charge. But here goes Mitch Welker out of nowhere, diving it deep under Chad Simpson.
Welker's a man on a mission. He's trying the inside line. Now he's going to the outside line, trying to get back in line. Rolf is going to have a go at Bommersbach this time for the lead. Still, no one been able to make that inside line work, but still alongside for a moment. Now here comes Simpson on the high line, trying to make that pass work. And he's going to try and stab it down to the inside of Bommersbach, right in front of Rolf. And they're side by side, 2 by 2, 2 rows deep through turns 3 and 4. They're still side by side down the front stretch. What's going to happen in turn 1? This is the first time we've ever seen anything like this tonight. What's going to happen? It looks like everyone's going to be okay.
That inside line, we've seen it bogged down so many times. Chad Simpson now dropping back to third place, almost fourth, as Mitch Welker deciding it's time for him to move up to the point as they're diving it down inside of Bommersbach, making that pass for the lead.
Bommersbach and Welker almost touched tires. Here comes Bommersbach again, trying to make a run to the lead again with a run on the inside. Can he make it stick? No one's been able to do it so far. He's actually got a bit of an advantage, trying it alongside. 3 wide. Here comes Rolf.
Barrett Rolf out of nowhere makes that inside line work after watching the front two just bog each other down by being side by side. The 33 car to the point, and now snaking it to the inside.
Trying to break the draft, trying to get rid of the guys behind him. He knows he doesn't want to be the next sitting duck. Man, these drivers have gotten a little bit aggressive. Bommersbach almost into Welker as he creeps up the track. We're still green. These drivers have been able to keep it safe, keep it cool, and man, it's just exciting racing that we're witnessing at the moment. It's Bommersbach got a really wicked twitch. I think that car's got a little bit more oversteer than he like.
Now these drivers are running on pretty old tires. Now the driver that's leading the fresh tire crew, that's Riley Thompson in 7th place, and he is coming. He's on the back bumper of Jason Brophy. Pulling with him is going to be Mike Hurley. He's going to get under, as well as Munoz.
Munoz and Hurley have come up with this pack. We haven't talked about them all night long. They had pretty standard qualifying runs. They qualified mid-pack and up into the wall. I believe that was Hurley. No. Thompson.
And also making contact with him was the 81 of Christian Alacio. No yellow flag just yet. They're still green as Alacio gets trying to get that thing straightened out. Still up front, they're battling hard as Alacio tries to get straight, and it looks like he does as we stay green.
Riley Thompson, your points leader, actually flipped his way into pit road, landed inside it. Oh, that would have been
almost taking out our front two and the whole entire front pack.
They have got to get down on the track. They have got to get off the racetrack. I don't know why they're still on the racetrack. That car is not at all up to speed. That car is in the way. You have got to get off the track.
Here they come down the front stretch again.
The leaders are coming, and I'm surprised that Alacio hasn't gone off the racetrack still on the back stretch. The leaders are going side by side. What's going to happen when they get back to Alacio? I don't know if I agree with what the 81 is doing right now, but here come the leaders. How are they going to navigate the wounded car?
Now back up front, as you got Barra Rolf being side by side with Chad Simpson, and all of that chaos as we're only on lap 38 as our front runners are still side by side. Mitch Welker trying to figure out how to pull away, but the draft's still so strong, and now's the opportunity for Mitch Welker. Second in points, 29 points back in the point and leading this race. He's trying to just get the maximum amount of points as he can today, so maybe he can dig deeper into this points race. But going up against Riley Thompson as Chad Simpson now trying that inside line as Kite Bommersbach in fourth.
Yeah, this is going to be really good for Welker in terms of points, because we're well into the second half of the season, and it's getting down to crunch time as we only have a few races left, and by the time we get to Homestead, you have got to be in a position where you can battle for this championship. And tonight, like you said, Welker's got the best opportunity to do so. Will not take the points lead tonight too far back. However, he will dig into it. As speaking of digging into, here comes Rolf trying to dig into this lead, trying to make that inside line work again through 1 and 2. No one's been able to do it, and that hasn't changed for Rolf either.
Yeah, you have to slow down so much, and your momentum just goes away with that inside line. You got to try to maybe make an outside line pass going into 1 and 2 if possible, but the leader will always try to defend that middle line, making himself look as large as possible and blocking most of the track. It's Mayor Rolf. He's going to try that outside line, but it's just he doesn't have the momentum that Mitch Welker has as he almost clobbers the wall out of 2.
Yeah, and that would have for sure brought Simpson into the mix. Is Simpson trying his best to get around Rolf and get up to the lead? No one's been able to really make the outside line work to make a pass either. We've been talking about the inside line, how there's really no way to really hold power down there, and the same can be said for trying to pass on the outside line. As Rolf is going to try again. On the outside line, yeah, you can hold your position, but no one's been able to take the position away one-on-one with another driver so far tonight on that outside line. There's always been a group of 2 or 3 cars that you could use as a pick to take it, but I don't think we've seen one-on-one tonight as they continue to battle hard for the lead.
They continue to battle as hard as they can as they are still side by side here for the lead. Barrett Rolf tried the inside line once again, just not able to get it done as he continues to just not be able to get that momentum out of the corner. The outside line still so strong through 1 and 2.
Speaking of the outside line, here comes Chad Simpson. He's gotten to the outside of Rolf, trying to make that outside line work. And as soon as I said the outside line isn't good for passing, someone makes it outside line work. However, Rolf has other ideas, trying to get up in front of Simpson, and he does. Rolf made the pass on the inside, albeit I think Simpson had to check up quite a bit as he was almost in the back of Welker.
Now here's something we really got to start throwing into the mix. Pits are coming. If we stay green for the next 5 laps or so, we're going to be seeing Chad Simpson as well as Kai Bommersbach having to come in because they don't have enough fuel. As right there, Barrett Rolf trying as many aggressive moves as possible, just not able to get up front.
No, he's trying the inside line, he's trying the outside line, trying to hold back and get a run into the turn, trying to be right on the rear wing of Welker and try to make it work. But so far, that 33 has not been able to do it. Now he's going to try and get a run down the front stretch. He's alongside of Welker. Can he make it stick? How far does he drive it down into 1? He's going to try it. He tried this earlier on Simpson, but not going to work for the leader. There was no help for Wolf at all, and he's going to fall back into 2nd place. These drivers, there's really only one place to make the pass, and that's where they're trying to do it. But you got to think that they're got to be scratching their head. What do I got to do to pass this guy? Where can I pass this guy here at Gateway? And Rolf again trying to make it work. Can he make it stick? Not enough. That outside line still prevails.
I mean, there's always the chance of trying to do a dirt track move, and that's just throw it in and try to do a slide job. As Kai Bommersbach now going to be diving it in the inside of Chad Simpson. Barrett Rolf almost makes contact with Mitch Welker there as they continue to run hard, but just no longer having the draft. And now we're going to see who else is coming in. Liam Quinn now going to be mixing it up with these front runners.
Yeah, Liam Quinn is gotten tired of running by him. He was getting tired of being content with running in the 4th position. He's now right on the rear wing of these top 3, and he's going to insert himself into this fight. Quinn has been quiet so far, and I wouldn't be surprised if now he's going to try to put his bid for this top 3. As Rolf again to the inside. Bommersbach has fallen to 5th place rather, as he's trying to I think he's trying to settle in and maybe not be in the middle of this, because if they get too racy up for this lead, then something could break and these drivers could end up running over each other, and that could bring a whole new look to this race. And Jason Brophy in the 88 running a very similar strategy of staying away from the side-by-side battles. I'm going to run my own race. I know I've got a fast car. I know I can get up back to the front. I'm going to try and stretch this field as far as possible. You got to think because he's not running for anyone for position, he can, kind of just maybe 90% throttle around this racetrack and hopefully save some fuel, as being in the draft certainly has its advantages for that 88, and I don't think I necessarily disagree with the strategy on that on the Brophy's part.
No, it's really not a bad strategy at all, as they continue to be running as hard as they can. Like we said, green flag pit stops are looming over the 46 of Chad Simpson, who's right under Barrett Rolf. He's got to think about pitting here in the next 5 to 10 laps.
Whoa!
Oh my goodness, these drivers are so close to one another, and just one simple mistake could cost you greatly.
I don't know if Rolf hit the wall or not. It definitely looked like they were close, if not actually there. And Simpson was trying to get to the inside, but here comes Bommersbach out of nowhere with a run. Going to try and get around Simpson on the inside of 3 and 4. Not going to be able to do it. Simpson with a bit of a cutback move halts the progress up to 37. Give that position back to Chad Simpson. It's just these drivers, pit stops are coming. You got to think that maybe they need to settle in and find where they're going to be for the cycle of green flag stops. Is getting onto pit road is going to be the challenging part here at Gateway, because you do have to exit on the about halfway through turn 3. So they would have to just start slowing down by then. And if you're running right nose to the wing with another person, it's going to be a little bit difficult to get slowed down without running over somebody. And speaking of running over somebody, they're about ready to catch Munoz in the 09, as Munoz has kind of lost pace with the draft and is falling into the clutches of the leaders now.
As you can see there's Munoz. You saw a blimp of this, the leaders coming towards him. As you can tell, this 09 not running as fast as our leaders that are closing quick on them.
Whoa!
As Mitch Welker goes flying high and got really out of shape there.
I think somebody got into him. I think that Rolf might have made contact with the 33 as I was watching it. Looked like that the 33 kind of shoved it in, like you said, did a dirt track move. I'm going to run it in deep and see if it stuck, and it did, but with a bit of an assistance from the 76, and now here comes the 46 trying to make a pass for the lead.
Just looking over the points, I mean, Barrett Rolf, someone to watch out for as well, as Rolf right now, he won back at our road course at Detroit at Belle Isle, looking to get another win, get a second win of the season for that 33 machine. Every single oval we've been at, Barrett Rolf has always been someone that could be in our top 5, top 3 question at every race. We'll see if we can see Barrett Rolf get this win, help himself points-wise as well. I mean, you got Mitch Welker up here as we
to pit under these green flag conditions. As you mentioned, Bomberspach already came down. As it's getting darker here in St. Louis, we're starting to get into the
caution of the day. So we'll see if Liam Quinn, if he can catch and possibly gain on the drivers out here, as really the tires have not dropped off that much with the run that's been going on. They might be off by about 3/10 at most. So these short pits, you're hoping that you're gaining just enough to get in front of another driver. Side by side, it might have been a little bit of contact there for the lead.
Yeah, the hole closed up for sure. I don't think there was any room for Rolf to have. And Rolf goes around! He's going to go up in the wall, and that's going to bring out a yellow. The 33 losing it into turn 3. I don't know if there was any contact, but that changes everything.
That just is demoralizing to see for Liam Quinn, who could have stayed out, tried a different strategy, hoping that we would stay green, and it just did not happen.
Although this might kind of work in Quinn's favor. I don't know if he's going to get that lap back. He's the only driver a lap down other than Thompson, who I don't think is running right now, is still on pit road. So Thompson came down pit road, and he's a lap down behind the Valacio. So he's been on pit road for a while. But man, they got to feel bad for Quinn, Simpson, and Bomberspach, who are all still a lap down. I don't know if they're going to get their laps back. And Welker's coming down pit road, and that 33 went for a bit of a ride just now, and that just changed the entire scape of this race.
And I think it might have been netcode once again striking for these drivers, as they were so close. There wasn't actual contact for the spin. There was a little bit of contact on the backstretch, but these drivers, netcode once again strikes in turn 3 and 4.
Man, it's just, I thought he might have lost it by himself the way it looked, because he ran in with a head of steam, and that car just looks like that maybe the tires were screaming at him saying, no, you can't do that right now. It's not time for that. And man, he just lost it into 3, and he almost kept it off the wall. I was actually thinking he was going to, but then the car looped around on him and bit of hard contact up into the safer barrier. But so far, it looks like that Brophy is going to inherit the lead. At the way it looks, I think he got off pit road first. I don't think he pitted at all. Yeah, he did. Okay.
He did pit. He came in, was able to beat out the drivers that had some issues. Mitch Welker, like we said, made a little bit of contact with the 33 on the backstretch before that caution. And with that little bit of damage, Mitch Welker had to come in and get those slight repairs, which cost him the lead, giving the lead to the 88 of Jason Brophy. And a lot of other machines had some pretty decent damage. Mike Hurley in the 32, he had some damage that needed repair, as well as Brophy in his rear wing and his front wing. Luckily, those are easily replaceable and shouldn't be hindering Barrett Rolf too much. And Rolf should be able to make his way back up to the front.
Yeah, down but not out. as he's still running 5th place on the lead lap. So very good considering what could have happened. And I don't know how up to pace that car will be, though, considering that there is probably some other damage other than the wing. He didn't hit the wall very hard, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's something not quite right with the way the suspension is handling for that car. But we'll have to see once we go back to green. 33 not out of this race yet, so don't count him out from this win. Brophy is going to be the leader. Welker is going to be second. Brent Jones, who we haven't talked about all night long, is now in 3rd place after the round of pit stops. And Mike Hurley is finding himself in the 4th place position right behind these leaders. And then you have Barrett Rolfe running in 5th. And then after that, it's a long way back to 6th place, which is in front of these leaders. You got Liam Quinn, Chad Simpson, Kai Bommersbach. They all pitted basically as the yellow flag was happening. And Rodrigo Munoz, who is still a lap down to the leader, and he got passed on the racetrack for that for him to be lapped, and he's not going to get his lap back this time by. We'll have to see what happens with a lot of these drivers starting in front of the leader. What's going to happen? They're going to get a wave around, so never mind. They're going to be right back to the end of the line.
Yeah, which is going to leave us with a total of 8 machines still left on the lead lap, as Rodrigo Munoz is going to be leading the cars that are 1 lap down, hoping for a quick caution and seeing everyone pit so we can get a wave around. Right now, only 9 drivers still on course running here, and it's a shocker to see. We started with 18, and we're down to half of them still running on track, as Gateway has just been a monster so far, as all of it's been really out of the center of 3 and 4.
Yeah, that's been the trouble spot. It's a high-speed corner relative to the other side of the racetrack, so people trying to make moves, and maybe they're trying to size each other up, seeing what they can do at the end of the race, seeing if maybe that they can get a run and maybe make a last lap pass. And it's just a fast racetrack in that part of the track, and we've seen a lot of drivers just a little bit too aggressive, and we're gonna set them up again as Brophy takes the lead. We're back under green here at Gateway, and Brophy got a major lead off of that restart. Welker going to be right behind him. Jones also running by himself, and here comes Barrett Rolfe. That 33 doesn't look like it's slowed down, and he's trying to make a pass on the inside of Hurley. Actually almost came up into Hurley, but going to keep it going. That 33 is still fast.
Yeah, Barrett Rolfe is coming, but he's got to get by all these cars and hope that he's still close enough to have the draft to move up to our lead drivers, where we're seeing Mitch Welker making an inside pass here on Jason Brophy, and Brophy looks like he is going to still try to hold on the outside, but not able to. Fresh tires makes that inside line work.
Indeed it does, and that was the first time I think tonight we've seen the inside line actually be the preferred line, as we're getting a combination of fresh tires and the track being a little bit cooler than it was earlier. Brophy's thinking, well, maybe if you could do it, then I'm going to try it now. It looks like he's going to hold back, not willing to try it this time around. We'll have to keep an eye on this battle for the lead. Speaking of battle for the lead, Barrett Rolfe is clawing his way back up towards these top 2. That 33 is still fast. He wants to get back to the lead. He wants to take back control of this race. After that spin, you got to think that his eyes have been set ablaze with that lead, and he's going back up towards it.
And right now, our leader's still staying single file out. But to go back to the battle for 5th place, as you see a lot of machines. You got
the 9s around.
Oh no, that happened. I think that happened right where I was about to talk about the Hornet's nest that was building up.
And we're back under yellow again. Munoz going around in turn number 1 through turn 2, and that car is now off the track and onto pit road.
It might have been right when I switched off, and oh my goodness. He just got completely wicked loose. That was a very aggressive spin that happened to the 09 that could have ruined his day here at Gateway.
I don't know if that was by himself or if there was some net code that was involved there. That looked like it was a little too quick to be just a spin.
There was slight contact between Simpson and Munoz, but Simpson had already ducked to the inside and then about a second after he ducked to the inside, that's when the 09 just snapped. So looks like net code, but man, Chad Simpson, we're going to take another look at this. That was very aggressive scene there.
Yeah, Munoz hit the wall a heavy amount, and man, that was going about 120 when he actually hit the wall. And man, you gotta feel bad. That's gotta hurt a driver when he hits the wall. And if you got force feedback turned up on your wheel, and especially with these cars that don't have power steering, you got to think that wheel chucked around. And hopefully, he got his hands off of it, because that was a very quick wreck.
As now we're going to be on a chopper cam to check out from overhead what happened here. And yeah, that looked like it was a netcode contact move. The front wing of Simpson just clipped the rear tire, and around they went.
And hard into the wall, and man, just another product of racing hard at such a fast track. And someone else has gone out because of not really being aggressive, but just the amount of netcode we've seen tonight. We've seen more crashes tonight via netcode than any other time that I think I've been doing this series. And it's just a combination of a fast track, hard racing, and netcode. And so far, we're left with about 9 cars that are still competitive tonight. 8 cars, really, if I'm looking at my relative, that are actually running on the racetrack.
8 cars still there. Munoz went in. Alacio came in about 20 laps ago, and everyone else still in pit road or have decided to park their machines. More drivers that officially have parked it. Sarah Tessum, Danny Roberts joining DeSerto and Evans as they are out of this race and have parked it for the day. We're waiting to see if any other drivers are deciding after getting their damage repaired if they're going to go back out on track and try to gain as many positions as possible. As I'd imagine Riley Thompson might be thinking about doing that if there's enough car there to get back out on track.
Yeah, they've been on pit road for about 20 minutes now trying to get that car repaired. Other drivers that are getting their cars repaired is Matt Hollabaugh, who's been there for about 28 minutes. Evan Adams and Will Roberts, who kind of both had incidences around the same time. Roberts been on there for 41 minutes, and Adams been on there for 36, trying to get those 2 cars repaired and back on the racetrack. Still plenty of racing to go. We're on lap 71 of 150, getting close to halfway through this race, and it's just been a bit of hard racing here tonight. As this series never fails to disappoint on close action, as it's been pretty much 110% start to finish so far tonight.
Yeah, everyone has been so aggressive on their moves, knowing, hey, if I've got the momentum to move forward, I've got to utilize this or I'm going to be wasting it, and it possibly could be hurting myself on the longer run. So everyone trying to make as many moves forward as possible, as really our front 3 drivers that are very happy, sadly, to see Riley Thompson having a bad day, as they can now start making moves forward. I mean, Jason Brophy, he's missed a couple of races, now trying to make a push forward in that 88 machine, running second. Mitch Welker, second in points. He's hoping for a good day. If he wins here, could be chipping away at the points. And with drop weeks, honestly, could be putting Mitch Welker top of the board on points as we're getting inching closer and closer to the end of potential drop weeks. And also you got Barrett Rolfe. Rolfe, someone that we've seen trying to get another win this season, and really has a chance after the incident that he was involved in, self-spinning back for bringing out our 4th caution of the day.
Yeah, a lot of these drivers in with a chance, and like you mentioned, Rolfe is still in with a chance, and Welker definitely trying to close in that points lead. If we can go into Road America with a significant chip into Thompson's point lead. Thompson is fast at road courses, though. Let's not forget that car is extremely fast at the road races, and that might be Road America might be Thompson's playground come next week. But Welker trying to chip into the lead as much as he possibly can here tonight, as we're about ready to get set to go again. Green flag in the air as Welker gets off really well. Brophy's not letting him get away too far, though. The 88 sticking right with him, and Barrett Rolfe kind of in a world of his own. But the way that the night's gone, that lead and that battle will close up very quick.
Barrett Rolfe is the driver to watch out here coming through the backstretch. If he gets a good momentum coming through here and into the straightaway, he could be passing 2 cars at once, as here comes the 33, but also here comes Jason Brophy and the 88 car on the inside.
Brophy trying to make the inside line work, actually ducks back behind the 76 of Welker, thinks better of it, now going defensive against the oncoming 33 of Rolfe, and back there side by side for fourth place is actually going to be Liam Quinn and Mike Hurley. Hurley trying to get that position on the outside line and Quinn on the inside line. Who's going to get it? Looks like that Quinn is going to make it work on the inside line through 3 and 4.
Quinn, fantastic move on his part, able to make that pass, and someone that has been quietly showing that he is quick. Quinn is someone that is very fast. We're looking at drivers that put down the fastest laps here tonight. Fastest lap that has been placed down goes to our leader, Mitch Welker, with a 24.8.
Yeah, that's a blazing fast lap at this racetrack, and they've been running pretty much this speed all night long. No, the lap times really haven't gone away too far. As the tires wear down, the times will slow down, but they haven't slowed down dramatically, as we're still running in the mid 25, actually the low 25s tonight, and it's been non-stop from start to green, as we mentioned, and Brophy now falling into the clutches of Rolf, who really wants to get back into the lead as he spun earlier. He's back in second. Here comes Quinn. We've been sleeping on Quinn all night long, and now he's going to try the inside. He's actually going to make that pass work, give the third place position to the 4 of Quinn, and now he's going to set his sights on second place, Barrett Rolf.
And all these drivers still have in the back of their mind, they have to pit one more time during this race to make it to the end. If we stay green, the drivers are going to be aiming for around lap 50 to 45 laps to go. That's when they're going to be thinking about coming to the pits here. So around lap 100 to 105 is that marker.
Yeah, and the way these laps are ticking by, that's going to come up on them very quick, because we're putting down such fast laps. The laps will go by as here comes Jason Brophy again, trying to make the move on Quinn. Now, Quinn, correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean, he's been up at the front, but I don't think he's led all night tonight.
No, Quinn has been running around as we're seeing a pass here for the lead. Barry Rolf on the inside, trying to make a move, and bogs down once again. Quinn has been a driver lingering around 4th to about 7th place all race long, but has shown the pace to be moving up forward, just deciding going for this fuel strategy run instead of being up front leading every single lap, which is kind of known. Liam Quinn last season really was known as the fuel strategy guy who would always try. Oh, contact! Mitch Welker up into the wall, as well as Mike Hurley and Bommersbach.
Now that was contact as Welker goes into the wall at the hands of Brophy and not Brophy, Rolf, excuse me, and that is definitely going to be the end of Mitch Welker's night, as that car has taken a heavy shot into the wall, as well as Hurley, and that's going to take 2 more drivers out of this running. And anything that we were talking about Welker having a good points day, I think that might have just been shattered.
Re-looking at it, I think it was netcode once again. Yes, there was a bumper that got thrown up by Rolf, but at the same time, there was still space between those drivers when contact was supposedly made.
Man, that was a hard shot, too, and there's nothing that Bommersbach or Hurley could do about it. And, man, I think that maybe Bommersbach got away with that. I don't think he made contact.
As you'll see here, we're going back and forth, so you can see what type of netcode you're talking about. Just right there, it wasn't contact, netcode made.
Yeah, netcode again is what caused this, and if Bommersbach got away with that, I'd like to see how fast that car is. That car was almost there. And we didn't see this though. Further up the racetrack, someone else spun. That was Chad Simpson that spun up into the wall and actually lost his rear wing. So Simpson, a product of this incident also, as he just got loose trying to avoid it.
And here's Chad Simpson's side of the race. Going to the inside, went a little bit too low into the grass, and around he goes. Backs it in and taking out that rear wing. And that is hard because it also took off the rear shell, which is damage to the engine, and also front wing damage because going through the grass. That is awful to see for Chad Simpson. And now you got a question. We just got past halfway marker. How many drivers are going to be left by the end of this thing?
I don't know. Simpson's going to be on pit road for quite a while. The pit road is littered with cars that are trying to get back on the racetrack. And as soon as I say that, Simpson's actually gotten that car repaired and is back on track. That car might be okay. I think the only thing that happened was the wing fell off. So it might be another situation that Rolf found himself in where it looked serious, but was actually pretty easy to fix. And as I'm looking at it right now, we've got 6 cars running on the racetrack at the moment. Out of 18 that took the green, we have 6 cars left. This track has eaten away at these drivers, and I don't think it's done yet. We still have a long way to go, and these drivers, I don't think, are going to be any less aggressive.
Pit stops were made for most of these drivers except for one, Barrett Rolfe, staying out on 20-lap old tires compared to the rest of the crew out there. And honestly, it's going to be interesting to see because still, even if you pit now, you cannot make it to the end from this point on because of fuel. The fuel window is about the longest we saw with all the cautions that we had was about 57 laps was the most these drivers could go with the help of caution of about 3 caution pace laps that you could have. So keep in mind, these drivers still need to pit. And the drivers that pit now, they'll be aiming for about lap 130 to about 135 is the window they're looking for. As Barrett Rolfe, he'll have to pit on lap 105.
Yeah, if he wants to make it to the end and keep the lead, he's got to do that because he's still out on this on the racetrack. The only one that didn't pit under that cycle, and Quinn is going to be mad fast with those fresh tires, and we're going to have to keep an eye on this battle for the lead. I don't think that Quinn is going to be too content to run behind the 33, but pace lights are still on the pace car. We're going around. I also just looked on my timing screen, and Welker and Hurley have retired from the race, so they will have no intentions on getting back on track as someone just came down pit road. I think that was Brent Jones, that came down pit road again, trying to get some repairs done to that car, or maybe just trying to get some fresh tires, maybe thinking about stretching it all the way, although I don't think he can. So the drivers that are still on pit road that might potentially come out are Munoz, Alacio, Thompson, your points leader, Hollabaugh, Adams, and Roberts. Those Will Roberts, I should say. Those drivers are still on pit road trying to get themselves back on the racetrack. Drivers who have gone out of this race, you can add Welker and Hurley to the names. Sarah Tessum, Danny Roberts, Cohen Evans, and Joseph DeCiro. Those drivers have been out of this race. DeCiro went out very early on. Actually wasn't involved in anything, just retired from the race. He wasn't feeling right with that car, so they decided to park the 10, and everyone else has gone to either a netcode or a self-spin. So we saw a number of those in the first half of this race, but we're going to stack them up against Sam. I don't know. What do you expect to see in the latter stages of this race?
I mean, based off that last run, Kai Bommersbach was running extremely off the pace. I think there might be some engine issues for that 37 machine. I think it might be just a battle between our top 3. Maybe Chad Simpson could get involved. But right now, Barrett Rolfe taking the green as we're coming to lap 85, being ran 66 laps to go.
And he got a big run out, too. And here comes Quinn trying to arc it in. Quinn's got a fast car. He's going to close up the gap. Probably going to be right on that rear wing by the time they get on the front stretch. He's actually pulling away from Brophy, which is something I didn't think was going to happen. Is Brophy content to run back here? And something that I just thought about with as few cars that we got running on the racetrack, maybe they're going to be less aggressive. There's also going to be less cars to run over, so maybe they're going to get into a long green flag run, maybe ride this thing out, and then start racing hard once we get into the closing stages of this race, because we're only on lap 86. We haven't even made it to lap 100 yet, and we still have 50 to go after that. It's going to be a long way to go for these top 6.
Yeah, still one more pit window to look for these drivers, as right now, Barrett Rolfe, the one that still needs to pit, but you're seeing the difference between tires as here comes Liam Quinn in that Ford machine. It's been lingering back for so long, now deciding it's time to make a push here, as here comes Barrett Rolfe, almost making it 3 wide in the middle of 1 and 2.
I don't know how hard I'd be battling for position at this moment, because as we've seen tonight, someone gets a little bit too close and you might spin around as Rolfe gets extremely defensive, trying to hold off the advances of Quinn. And that's bringing Bommersbach into this mix. It's also bringing Chad Simpson back into this mix. So all the questions we had about how fast the Bommersbach's car was going to be, he was able to miss that wreck earlier, and he's now back up battling for the lead.
We're back to 5 cars running hard. The car running in the back, that's Brent Jones. We'll see if he's able to mix them with these top drivers, as all these guys have been just running up front all race long. We haven't seen what Brent Jones really has, if he can somehow latch onto this draft and break himself back into this top group.
He hasn't lost it yet. He's still running back there. I don't know if by design or if he's trying to run as fast as he possibly can. To the inside goes Quinn, and Quinn makes the pass on the inside, but not without a fight from Rolfe. It's the crossover, comes back down the back stretch. What can Rolfe do at this end of the racetrack?
Rolf going to be in the most preferred line, that inside line, cruising through 3 and 4 as they're seeing other drivers trying to figure out what lane might be a little bit faster so they can make a pass here. Liam Quinn on the inside as you got Barrett Rolf as well as Bomber Schbach just watching this action as these drivers are battling back and forth. Another crossover move here by Rolf, who's going to be making it on the inside here of Liam Quinn.
About a mirror image of what happened a lap before it is now Rolf back to the inside, going to make the pass work. Now here comes Quinn. Is he going to try the same thing that he did last lap? You bet he is. To the inside of Rolf goes the 4, and we're going to do this one more time as these drivers have been exchanging the lead every single time, but Rolf has been getting the laps led, and oh, Quinn got loose. Almost went up into Rolf, but saved it.
Could have been making our front pack even smaller, but Quinn able to save it, and Rolf able to avoid as they're now side by side for third place, and Bear Rolf now trying to pull away.
Yeah, Rolf's got a bit of a lead. He's actually going to try to break the wake behind him. He's gone down to the pit wall, and he's going to arc back up, snaking it around the front stretch. Brophy is now under fire from Quinn as Quinn is back on the charge, going underneath the 88. Not enough to do it here on this lap. Can he make it stick? No, he's going to fall back behind the 88.
Dropping back for the battle that once was for 4th. Now it looks like it's for 5th, as it looks like Kai Barmerschbach might be under fire from Brent Jones.
Yeah, Brent Jones is actually caught up to the 37 and is gonna maybe take a run at take a run at him. And yeah, I don't think Brent's too fast though. I think he's actually got something wrong with his car. He's not as fast as the other drivers. He's full throttling it, we can tell, and he's just trying to find out a way if he can get back up here. And I don't think Brent Jones is going to be too much of a threat, although he might be doing this on purpose, which wouldn't be that bad of a strategy. Going back up to the front, though, someone who is making a move now is going to be Chad Simpson, who's now in 3rd place.
Chad Simpson, we saw make contact after that last caution, backed into the wall, lost his back wing, but now is back out there and running 3rd. We have our colleague, Matt Rodriguez, who usually does kind of what Brent Jones is doing, linger back, let the rest of the field wreck themselves out and survive as these drivers are still running so hard, as now it's the battle here for 4th place as Kai Bommerschbach trying to hold off Jason Brophy.
Yeah, Brophy has been able to, he's kind of falling back too, not really losing the touch with the field, but also realizing that, hey, I don't want to be battling this hard right now, and I kind of want to survive and save my stuff for later on in the race. And he's going to do the exact same thing that I think Brent Jones is doing. And now a battle between Simpson and Quinn as Simpson goes to the inside, back to the outside to try and break, trying to stop the advances of Quinn. But Quinn not leaving the rear wing of that 46.
And now you see Chad Simpson trying to break the wake, but also follow Barrett Rolf as these drivers, ever since Rolf was able to get a gap of about half a second, he's been able to pull away from the rest of the field and still does. It's almost a second gap between himself and Chad Simpson.
The biggest lead we've seen tonight as Rolf is continuing to pull away, but now that Simpson's running all by himself, he's actually gotten away from Quinn, and now he's going to try and run down the leaders. Rolf snakes it down the backstretch, snakes it back up to the outside wall. Simpson doing the same, trying to stay within the draft. Now Bommerschbach to 3rd place. He's even made the move on Quinn, and now he's going to be trying to catch up to these top 2.
Quinn is also going to be battling as hard as he can. All credit to Barrett Rolf, who's on the much older tires and just showing that really, it's not a tire game. It's about where you run and how you can just keep being consistent on every single lap.
Yeah, and he's been doing it right as he's got about a half a second lead at this moment in time, and he's actually closing in. So Chad Simpson is closing the gap, and that battle for the lead is going to be right back to the way it was in a few laps' time. Again, give credit to Rolf for making those tires work. Bommerschbach now trying to catch up to Simpson, and Liam Quinn and Jason Brophy trying to battle. And take a look at Brent Jones. Never lost a draft. Now back within the rear wing of that 88. So now they've kind of settled into a run. I think that this is going to be the way we're going to be seeing them run for a little while until the later stages of the race. But that pit stop still looms in the back of these minds, especially Rolf, who has to pit before all these drivers. And you got to think that if he can make this work on old tires, then he's not concerned about that. I don't know. I wait until you get to right when you have the fuel window, come down pit road, get your fuel, and then get right back on the track and try to get back to that lead.
Yeah, right now, Barrett Rolf, he has been out there for 38 laps trying to snake it around. His marker is looking like 106. Lap 106 would be the lap that the pit window opens up for all of these drivers, and you might be seeing some of these drivers thinking about pitting early if they have to. I mean, they pitted, and they've got about 20 lap fresher tires than our leader at the moment. The rest of the field does. So there's always that opportunity of pitting on the same sequence as our leader so you don't lose too much time, or just trying to stay in the draft and try to pull away as much as you can.
Yeah, and right now the lead is still kind of hovering around that half-second mark. It is not really closed up too much. Simpson has closed in about 0.2 over the last 5 laps or so, and it's actually getting closer and closer the longer the run goes on. But it's not immediate. But I think that Simpson, after he gets a little bit closer, is actually going to close up. He actually closed up quite a bit that last lap. He went down from 0.4 to 0.2, and we've got a battle for the lead on our hands now as Simpson with a whale of a run. I think that Rolf is getting close to the end of his pit window. He's got to make it come down for a pit soon. You said 106. He's got 2 laps to do that after we get to the line. But will Simpson let him have it? As here comes Simpson to the inside. He's got the run.
I'm just recalculating when when he last came into the pits, and with the caution laps that we've had, he stayed out during those, so he could possibly go until lap 110 if needed. But like I said, 106 is when the window opens for all these drivers, when that could be your final stop of the day. From there on out, any single time, these drivers are good to pit.
Yeah, and now we got a battle for the lead as Bomberschbach is now in this mix, and Simpson and Rolf are battling for the lead. Oh, they're getting close up the exit of turn 2, and there was almost some contact between the 46 and the 33. That could have been disastrous. Could have seen our 2 leaders go up on the wall, but so far, we're still under green, and here comes Rolf to the inside. Back to the lead goes the 33.
And that's the difference between fresh tires and old tires going into 1 and 2. That's really where the difference is with these tires, it seems like. Where Bear Rolf, if he can't really get to complete inside, if he wants to dive it down deep, he has to run the middle or outside. And then here in 3 and 4, he can really run at any line he wants, but prefers to run about a half a groove up from at that rumble strip.
Yeah, and he's been having a diverse line of runs, as you mentioned. He's been to the inside, the outside, that rumble strip.
Liam Quinn did pit the 4 Machine, first car to come into the pit, as well as Jason Brophy follows suit with the 4 Machine. So it's not Barrett Rolf who has to pit here soon. It's everyone else realizing the opening has come in.
Yeah, now it's time to short pit. If you can make it on the way, your tires don't seem to matter too much, like we mentioned. And now we're seeing Quinn fresh to go. He can make it to the end of the race now. The 88, also the same story. He can make it to the end of the race after pitting this lap, and he'll be trying to make a charge, running by himself, get some clean air, put down some fast laps, and that's not a bad strategy. He's going to come back on the racetrack around the same time that the 4 is. Now we look to our leaders. What are they going to do, seeing that these 2 drivers have just made their stops? You think that maybe they're going to come down pit road soon, or do you think they're going to stay out a little bit longer?
I think that we're going to be seeing Barrett Rolf stretch it as far as he can. So the next 2 to 3 laps, we're going to be seeing this 33 car coming into the pits. He'll probably acknowledge, say, hey, I'm coming in, so that we don't see a wreck between our front 3. But Barrett Rolf, he's coming to the end of this fuel run that he's one of the drivers that has to pit everyone else. They've got the option of when I want to come in. I really like the strategy from Liam Quinn and also Jason Brophy, because when they came in, they actually, yes, they're 1 lap down. So if a caution comes out, they're in a very non-eventful spot they want to be in. But with them coming in so early, they're able to save time on their pit stops and put less fuel into their tank.
Yeah, and that way they'll have a lighter car, and that will make the difference. You can't get around that. If you have a lighter car, you're definitely going to go faster than the other drivers, and being how draft-dependent this racetrack is, if you have a lighter car, you can get out front. You can potentially hold the lead a little bit longer than if you had a heavier car, and now they're starting to spread out again. Simpson falling back. I don't know what's happened to the 46. Maybe he get checked up a little bit, lost touch with the 33, but he's fallen back quite a bit, as now Kite Bomberschbach looking at the second place position, trying to make a move, done, nothing there. And it looks like that we're going to go back to single file, and no one's indicated that they're coming to pit road.
And those are the mind games. I mean, sometimes you notify the whole entire field, and other times you don't. You just continue to run as hard as you can, and then you make a shocking move to the pits. I'm still shocked that Bear Rolf's still out there, but maybe he can go for another 5 more laps, because we were told if you're in fuel saving mode during the race under green, you possibly could go about 50 laps at most. And with caution laps, you might be able to go 55 laps.
Yeah, he's running about 51 laps out there on the racetrack at the moment. And he is getting to the end of that run as, again, he's just running fast laps. He hasn't slowed down any at all. And, these tires, after the cool of the nights come in, it's been prime time for these tires as the tire wear has gone down significantly. We were seeing that earlier in the race that the lap times were falling off a little bit. As we've gone more into the nighttime, the lap times have stayed pretty much the same as they always have been. And getting a bit rough to the inside. He's actually pitting this time inside. Here comes the 33. He's going to make his final stop of the night. And we'll have to see what happens with Chad Simpson and Bommersbach. What will they do?
I'm re-looking at the drivers that pitted early. That's Liam Quinn and Jason Brophy. They have caught one another. They're utilizing the draft, looking at the times they're being placed. These two running faster than what Chad Simpson and Kai Bommersbach were running. So there is a chance that we could be seeing the 4 and the 88 be the ones battling it out for the win here.
Especially when the cycle comes back around, because not all these drivers have pitted. Like you mentioned, Simpson and Bommersbach still have to make the stop. Also, Brent Jones has to make his stop. He's running all by himself on the front stretch. He's lost touch with the draft of these top few, but don't count out that 49 yet. He's still got a fast car, and if everything closes up, he might be right back in this fight.
Barrett Rolfe, with him pitting by himself, that's going to be losing a lot of time, though. I don't know if it's going to be advantageous for himself to be out there by himself. He's got to find friends quick. And right now, Barrett Rolfe, after coming into the pits, I believe he's going to be passed here by the 4 and the 88.
No, they're actually right behind him. So he has found friends in the form of the 4 and the 88. And they are going to run nose to tail with each other to get the speed off of each other. Speaking of running together, speaking of running by themselves, the 49 has come down pit road. So Brent Jones thinking now is the time for his final stop. He's going to get fresh tires on that 49 machine. And now he'll be good to go to the end of the race. So we're seeing now in the latter stages, drivers starting to make their moves. And this could be the way it looks towards the end of the race. But Simpson and Bommersbach haven't pitted. They're in a dogfight for the lead at the moment. And it looks like Bommersbach trying to go to the inside. What can he do? He's going to actually back out of it.
They don't want to be battling like this. You got to stay in line if you want to be running quick enough to hold off the drivers that are now about to be all in a line, where you're going to have the 4 of Liam Quinn, Barrett Rolfe, and 33 and the 88 of Jason Brophy. They're going to be running nose to tail, trying to get as much time as possible. Now you see our leaders. They've caught up to Brent Jones.
Yeah, Brent Jones, something's wrong with that 49. He's actually not on the pace. After that stop, he was actually going to come out pretty much in a net position to maybe keep up with the field, but now he's actually fallen, and that car continues to slow down. So I don't know what's gone on with the 49 across the run, but there is something amiss on the 49. And again, Simpson Bommersbach not willing to come down pit road yet, but Rolfe has actually gotten and stayed out front of Quinn and Brophy. So once we cycle around, it might be Rolfe leading the way again, but we have to wait and see, as some mind games being played with these drivers in the later stages of the race.
And I'm looking at it. We saw there for a brief second, Liam Quinn and Jason Brophy were all on top of one another drafting, and now they've actually started to gap one another. Quinn is pulling away from the 88 machine, as well as Quinn has not been gaining at all on the 33 of Barrett Rolfe. So with the battling that we're seeing from the 46 and the 37, it could be opening up the lead here for Barrett Rolfe, who's running about 0.3 to 0.4 quicker than our leaders every lap so far.
Yeah, and that's going to leapfrog the 4 and the 88 with them. So these drivers that are out being Simpson and Bommersbach, they might be in a bit of a no-win situation, because if you come down pit road, then you might find yourself running 4th and 5th at the end of your stop. And getting down to the nitty-gritty, 41 laps on this run for the two leaders. And speaking of leaders, Bommersbach thinking it's time. He comes down pit road. Last stop for the 37. That's going to leave Simpson all by himself to run around with the 49, rather. This is going to be Bommersbach's last stop. So the only one left is our leader, Simpson.
And Simpson right now, all he's thinking about, I have to hit my mark when I come into the pits. Can't be speeding, can't slide through my box, and I cannot speed exiting out of pit road. And also, you got to make sure coming out of the exits road that you don't spin out coming back onto the racetrack.
Now, these cars have got a pit limiter, so speeding on pit road is only going to happen on the entry of pit road, and hopefully he didn't do that, but if you should be on your limiter before you get to the stripe. But yeah, he's got to be perfect on pit road, and he's coming out of pit road now, and he's actually going to be swallowed up by these front few as Rolf is going to get by Bommersbach. He's going to pass him, which gives him a net second place, actually a physical second place at the moment, as Quinn's going to go by him. And now Brophy's looking at going by him. So Brophy to the inside. Bommersbach is now running a very slow fifth place at the moment, and that's a net fourth if Simpson doesn't have a fast stop. He has not come down yet, so he's probably going to try and stretch it as far as he can. I don't know if you can do that because the lap times are much slower than the guys behind you.
Yeah, I don't know how he's going to be able to stretch this one out. He's got to come to the pits. He's probably thinking about a splash and go, trying to save time that way. Might have to stick with the tires that he's on and hope for the best, as that last time by, almost identical times, was Chad Simpson and Barrett Rolfe. So these drivers running very quick. But the rest of the field all one lap down until we see this 46 come to the pits. And after seeing where Kai Bommersbach came out, makes me nervous. Will Barrett Rolfe just run away with this thing? Because the 4 hasn't caught him either.
Now, in the 88 and the 37 are in a battle right now between the third place position, what will be the third place position in a few laps time, or a net third place. And Bommersbach, I don't know. He's on a tear at the moment. He really wants to get back to the lead. If anyone can get back up to that 46 and challenge for the lead, that would be Bommersbach, because he is on. That car has been hooked up all night long. He's actually going to try and go for the lead against Liam Quinn. And don't count Quinn out either. He's been up at the front, hasn't led a lap yet. He's been battling for the lead, but he hasn't really led a lap because when they were cycling around those 3 laps that they were trading positions, he never got to the line first, so he's looking for his last lap lead, and he gets a little bit out of shape, and Bommersbach got to check up. Now here comes Bommersbach trying to challenge for the third place position.
A side-by-side action here. Don't make contact, or you're going to be gifting this win practically to Chad Simpson in a way. As Chad Simpson now into the pits, as Barrett Rolfe might be gifted the lead here.
He's got to have a fast stop. Does he get tires? Does he get a splash? What does this 46 do? He's going to get tires and a splash of fuel. How fast can this pit stop be? He's got to get back on track as quickly as possible. Here comes Brophy. He's down and away. Brophy's now, Barrett Rolfe is now exiting or coming down the front stretch. He's now entering turn 1. What can this 46 do? Can he get back to the lead? It looks like he might. No, here comes Rolfe. Rolfe is going to take the lead back here under green.
Barrett Rolfe with over a second and a half of gap between himself and Chad Simpson at the moment. Can Simpson get up to speed? I don't think he's close enough for the draft, and kind of hoping that the cars behind him can help him out. But this is going to be 20 laps of drivers trying to run down the 33 of Barrett Rolfe.
And he got 4 of them. 4 very hungry drivers wanting this lead back, and it all starts with Simpson, who actually had a really fast stop that last time by. One of the fastest stops of the night. That crew has been on point all night long. Now he runs second place, running down the leader Rolfe, battling for third. It's Kite Bommersbach and Liam Quinn in a dogfight for that third position, and Jason Brophy, again, content to run back in 5th at the moment, not wanting to battle, trying to get back up towards the leaders as we are down to lap 132. These laps are ticking away. We're closing in on 17 to go.
It might be an oval this time around, but the last time that we saw Barrett Rolfe get a win, all the front runners taken out early at Belle Isle. This time around, at the halfway marker, half the field was gone. Barrett Rolfe right now with almost a half a second lead over Chad Simpson, looking to get a win here, but here comes the 46.
We also want to touch on a driver that is retired from the race. Rodrigo Munoz has called it a night. That car not trying to get back on track. There's a few drivers still trying to, but I don't think it's going to matter too much, as I think the repairs might take longer than this race will. And like you said, here comes Simpson. He's caught up to the 33. Now it's a battle for the lead, but where can you make the pass? We've seen tonight that the inside line in turns 1 and 2, not the preferred line. The inside line in turn 3 and 4 can work, but it's very risky. If you get on the curb, it could cause your car to spin around. Here comes the 46. Is he going to take a go on the outside line? He's actually gotten alongside the outside. What can he do? Can he launch it into 1? This is the battle for the lead in the later stages at Gateway. Oh, and this contact! And there goes Simpson around on the backstretch, and the yellow is out!
Oh my goodness. Just like that, everything goes up in smoke for Chad Simpson again.
And it was a little bit of a run that Rolf had. He sunk it in. He couldn't hold it on the inside, and they met at the top of the racetrack, and that's the 46 in the wall. Oh, man, that was just close racing. That wasn't netcode. That was definitely contact.
Yeah, that might be the first time we could say that tonight, that it was not netcode. We'll see from a chopper cam giving us the best view as coming through 1 and 2. Simpson comes up, comes down, and Rolf comes up, and contact there between the 33 and the 46. Luckily, no one else made contact there. But now the question is, who comes into the pits and who stays out?
Man, that was definitely, it was a hard shot into the outside wall, and I don't know, that car's a little bit too damaged to get repaired. I think that's going to be Simpson out of this run, and it is a matter of who comes in, and right now, it looks like everyone's going to come in, so everyone's going to come in and get some fresh tires. You're good to go on fuel now. Man, and you know who this benefits? We were talking about how he lost the draft. Brent Jones is going to be back towards the front of the field. He's on the lead lap, so this benefits the 49. He might be up to challenge for this win as Simpson has gone to pit road and is actually going to park it there. I don't know what he's going to do, if he's going to get back on track or if he's going to get repaired, but horrible damage. And, well, we're going to set them back up. Sam, we're going to go back to green with around 11 laps to go. What are you going to expect in the late stages of this race with only so few laps left?
I mean, we've been seeing it all race long. Drivers trying to make that inside line work through 1 and 2. And how are they going to try to get that outside line working? It's going to be a lot of drivers shuffling up and down, trying to find the best grip, the most momentum to carry throughout this racetrack. And right now, Era Rolf leads the way in the 33 machine. The 37 of Kai Bommersbach, who also has had some ups and downs this race, as well as Rolf. He'll be starting in second. Jason Brophy, Brent Jones, as well as Liam Quinn in 5th place. As actually, it looks like Chad Simpson went through pits and might have missed his pit stall.
I don't know if he missed his stall or if he had just gotten tires and is going to hope for the best, because he's actually going to stay on the racetrack. I don't think he's going to come back down pit road. He's actually going to slow it down on the back stretch.
I think something might have broke on that thing.
He might be retiring the car. That 46, definitely not in a good way as he's trying to nurse it around. He's actually gone back up to speed, so he's going to go again. He's going to try and fuel this car out. I don't know what happened there. It looks like it shut down on him. He had to restart the car, and now he's going to go back up to speed. And yeah, he definitely pitted. He's going to try and nurse this car around for the last 11 laps or so. And he launched it in. He actually hit the wall, trying to catch the back of the field. If it wasn't broke before, it definitely is now. That car is going to be struggling to get around this track if he decides to stay out.
A car that looked like was about to win this race for a potential chance here. Chad Simpson now looking like he'll be just salvaging a 6th place finish here. I was looking over where drivers have finished all season long. Brent Jones is looking for his 2nd top 10 this season and his first top 10 of the season. I mean, first top 5 of the season so far. This 49 machine, we've seen a lot of cars being taken out so far, but Brent Jones looking for his best race this season.
Yeah, you got to be feeling good. It's been one wild race, and you can say that you've survived Gateway, and he's running now in the 4th position he is, so the highest he's run all season. If he can keep this up, he's going to be almost guaranteed a top 5 with how damaged a Chad Simpson is, so almost a guaranteed top 5 is, you know, you got to feel good for Jones. And, you know, he's had a fast car all night. I wouldn't be surprised if he tries to throw his hat into the mix of winning this race. We have 5 cars, that are going to be up to speed to battle it out for this end of the race. Rolf, your leader. Bommersbach 2nd. Brophy 3rd. It's going to be Jones and Quinn to make up the top 5. And then Chad Simpson, who's still running on the racetrack with a heavily damaged machine. He'll be running in the 6th position. But Sam, we're about ready to put them under green yet again with 11 laps to go. It's going to be a very chaotic 11 laps, and I think the point of no return is going to be a lap 146, so it's really a race to get there.
Yeah, 146 is the lap. We do not have overtime or green-white checkers in the IndyCar series, so these drivers are running until that marker, and once we get past there, it's about being in the lead for those final 5 laps. As now coming to the green is going to be Bear Rolf in the 33 machine and trying to hold back Kai Bommersbach, Jason Brophy, and Liam Quinn. As you just talked about, Brent Jones, he was trying to hold on for 4th place. We'll drop back to 5th. Liam Quinn on the move.
I think there might be something wrong with the 49. He's been slow in the later stages of the race, so something might have broken on that car. As Quinn is definitely looking for that lead because he hasn't had a lap led tonight. He really wants to lead a lap. He wants to win this race. He's been up here all night long, going to try and make something happen. To the inside, Barrett Rolf trying to defend his lead, but to the outside, Bommersbach says, "Thank you very much. That's my lead now." He's going to bring the 88 of Brophy with him.
And just like that, Bear Rolf, who looked like he was going to have a win here, is dropping back to 3rd. Possibly could be losing back to 4th as he's stuck on the high side. Liam Quinn on the inside. Here they come, side by side for the lead across the line. 9 laps to go, and it's going to be Kai Bommersbach, Jason Brophy, Liam Quinn, and Bear Rolf, your top 4, battling for the lead here. And if we have contact here, we could be seeing even Brent Jones have a chance for the win.
Yeah, Liam Quinn had a whale of a run and almost ran into the back end of the 88, had to check up, and that's going to give Rolf the 3rd place position back, but Quinn is not content to stay behind. He's going to go alongside of the 33. We're closing in, lap 43. We're getting close. Here comes Rolf to the inside, trying to pick 2 positions at the same time, trying to take the lead from 3rd place. He's going to slide up in front of the 88, not quite enough to get the lead, but a battle for 2nd and the lead between these top 3.
And you're seeing it, it's Brophy. He's kind of being pinched and blocked on the outside. Nowhere to go with his speed, which is keeping him stuck on the high side. Here comes Liam Quinn, who might be thinking about going 3 wide into turn number 1. Here he comes, 3 wide, coming into turn number 1.
This is going to be intense. He's going to back out of it. A smart move by Liam Quinn. Saw that nothing was going to happen, and he actually is going to save himself from an incident. That could have taken out the top 3. That could have taken out the top 4 easily, and a wise move by Liam Quinn. He's going to set himself back up to try and get back to the tail of this field. He has already. Here comes Rolf to the inside. What can he do into turn 1?
Barrett Rolf in the 33 machine. We've seen him be damaged and get those repairs and get back out on track. Now on the inside, trying to make a pass for the lead. We've also seen Kai Bommersbach have issues where he pitted and then was caught a lap down. That 37 machine is leading the way. Now under fire by the 88 of Jason Brophy.
Brophy to the inside, trying to make the inside line work. He's gotten to the inside curb, and he's going to make it work on the inside. He's going to, pinch Bommersbach to the outside. Rolf to the inside. These drivers are squirrely, and this brought Brent Jones back into this mix. He was falling back, and now he's caught the tail end as they've battled. So now it's a 5-car fight for the lead.
As these drivers continue to keep running on, we're inside of that window. A caution comes out. This race ends under yellow. As they come across to corner number 4, it's going to be Bear Rolf. It's Jason Brophy and Liam Quinn now on the inside, trying to make a pass here for the lead, coming into turn number 1.
Here comes Quinn. He's going to drive it in deep to the inside curb, trying to hold it on. He's not going to be able to make the pass, but he is going to be side by side down the backstretch. Can he get the lead through 3 and 4? He's going to sail it in, and yes, he has made the pass. Can he hold it? Liam Quinn is going to be your leader here at Gateway.
3 laps to go, and Liam Quinn leads the way. Jason Brophy on the inside. He's thinking about making a pass here on the 4 machine. Liam Quinn, who's been just waiting for his moment to shine. It's at the end of the race where we see the 4 car making his move. Here goes Barrel Ralph below Jason Brophy. Brophy, our 2-time winner. Barrel Ralph trying to become a 2-time winner. Liam Quinn, this is only his 2nd start of the season, looking for a win here at Gateway as they're coming to 2 laps to go.
Liam Quinn has gotten the lead. He's got a lot of hungry drivers behind him. Here comes Rolf again. Sails it in. We're going to have a close battle for this last lap and a half. Go down the backstretch. Quinn is trying to make his car as wide as possible. Here goes Brophy to the inside for 2nd as we continue to battle throughout this racetrack. And Quinn is saying, yes, continue to do that. I'll take the lead, but not yet. The 88's right there.
Here comes Brophy trying to make a move here. White flag in the air. Barrel Rolf on the inside. Gonna dive in deep. He's gonna get under the 4, but just loses in momentum. Liam Quinn side by side with Jason Brophy, which holds him up. Liam Quinn looking like he's got the move. Jason Brophy coming into turn number 3, trying to make the outside line work, but it's just not gonna be there. Liam Quinn out of turn number 4. Second start of the season. It might be able to get his win. Brophy on the outside. Not there. Liam Quinn gets the win at Gateway Indy 300.
What a story for the 4 car. It has been up at the front all night long, only led the last few laps, and he's going to take the win here tonight. As the fireworks go off in the back, we have got an amazing finish for tonight. The 4 of Liam Quinn takes the victory, and Brophy and Rolf, a storied battle for second and third. But tonight, it's all about that 4 machine. He can burn it down here in St. Louis. What a win.
He might have tried to do it based off strategy, but the late caution gave the 4 car a chance here at the end. And honestly, I think that caution with 10 laps to go was what really brought everyone close up and gave everyone an opportunity when it looked like Barrel Rolf was going to win this thing.
As he burns it down on the front stretch. Man, you gotta feel good. Second start of the season, and he gets a win here tonight. Man, and that wasn't an easy one either. He had to work for that one all race long, back and forth between him and several drivers. Him and Bommersbach had an amazing battle earlier in the race, and man, what a finish tonight. What a race tonight. That was exciting to watch.
We might have only finished with 5 cars racing on the course by the end of this thing, but man, it was entertaining from top to bottom. Liam Quinn in the 4 machine gets the win. Jason Brophy, Barrel Rolf, Kai Bommersbach, and Brent Jones, the 5 machines that survived. Everyone else, I mean, you've got Chad Simpson, who would look like he was making the pass for the lead with 10 laps to go, makes contact with Barrel Rolf, brings out our last caution of the night. And then you've got Mitch Welker, someone who else was looking for a lot of points, and Mike Hurley, Rodrigo Munoz, Christian Alessio. I mean, that's your top 10. I mean, and then you go to the rest of the field. That's so many top runners that looked like they were quick out of this thing. I mean, you look at 11th through 18th, you got Riley Thompson came in here as your points leader, will probably not be your points leader by the end of this thing, as there's so many point factors to look into. Matt Hollabaugh, Sarah Tessum. Sarah Tessum at one point was the fastest car on track before she got taken out. You got also Cohen Evans, their pole sitter, taken out early in this thing. Will Roberts running in 3rd when he was knocked out early in this race. I mean, so many drivers had amazing runs, but just were not there at the end. I mean, Anthony, a wild race overall.
It was a spectacular race as well, and Gateway with these fast cars, IndyCar is extremely fast, and this is kind of their place to shine. It's a small track, it's a quick track, and you just saw the best of the best take to this racetrack and try to survive it as much as they had to drive it. And the top 5, give them credit, they were able to survive here at Worldwide Technologies Raceway. And man, it was, like you said, a spectacular race top to finish. And I am also a little surprised that we saw some of our fast runners that we normally see at the front so far back so early on. But for those who survived, great run tonight, and they will be celebrating the fact that they survived here at Gateway.
It was a wild finish for us to see, but let's get a word from our drivers and see where they were. Barrett, it's Sam and Anthony up in the booth. You got us?
Yeah.
I mean, that was a wild race. Gateway certainly took out a lot of machines, but how was it from your end?
Yeah, it was wild from my end too. The draft is really strong here, so it's really hard to hold the lead. So you get a lot of people trying to defend the high line, particularly going into 1 and 2, and it just makes for a lot of movement, basically. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we saw a lot of netcode being the issue for most of these accidents, or getting loose through 3 and 4. From your end, I mean, how is it racing around these drivers, knowing that netcode is something that could be affecting your race?
Yeah, so we kind of got a warning about it because of the way the All-Star race went here. I just try to hold my line and leave enough room is basically the way that I go about it. So I know I had a couple of a little side by side contact with a couple drivers in that race. I think one of them was net code for sure. The other one, I haven't had a chance to go back and look at the replay yet, so I'm not sure on that one.
How did the cars feel tonight? Because it looked like tonight that the cars were on the brink of snapping around, as we saw some drivers in the early stages of the race get too low on the racetrack and had their cars literally take off on them. Were the cars a little bit hard to handle tonight, or was it just the nature of the racetrack?
So I didn't think so. I thought they handled pretty good. Maybe a little pushy, if anything. But I was able to find a nice set with the bars, and I really just moved the weight jacker just a couple times a lap, maybe like one or two clicks, just for the different shaped corners here for 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 kind of being egg shaped. So.
Yeah, I mean, Barrett, overall, I mean, you put on a great show for us to watch, but was there anything else you possibly could have done in those last couple of laps there?
I don't think so. I maybe could have been a bit more aggressive defending the high side, but I try not to make a lot of late moves because that's just when people kind of start ducking left and right, and it makes things unpredictable, which can be good sometimes. But when you're that close, going that fast, especially with net code issues, sometimes I really just try to keep it straight and narrow for the most part.
Well, overall, a great race on your end. But before we let you go, the floor is yours for any shout-outs.
Yeah, Scary Autosport, Manny, Apex Hunters United, everybody at Fuel and Flatout. This whole thing's a lot of fun.
Well, that's Barrett Rolfe in the 33 machine. Comes away with a third-place finish here at Gateway. A podium finish for yourself, and hopefully we'll be able to talk to you next week at Road America.
Thanks.
I mean, Anthony, a wild race overall, but I mean, the man that had a chance to possibly make a pass, Jason Brophy. Jason, it's Sam and Anthony up in the booth. You got us?
I got you.
That was probably one of the most spectacular races from top to bottom, but at the end, you were almost there to Liam Quinn. Was there anything else you could have done to get by the 4 machine?
No, I don't think so. I think I spent most of the race. I'm checking to see, but with damage, yeah. I spent most of the race with some left side pod damage that was shoved in. I had no straight line. I couldn't keep up with anybody. And on the long run, I'd get tight. And I thought I had my move when I pulled under Kite there. I thought maybe if I got the outside, I'd be able to hold on. But then I'd get to the corner, even in 3 and 4, where you were pretty well flat, especially on the new tires. Everybody just pulled me. And it's just, I didn't have the speed. So, drove a little dumb at times there. I think I made a little move up a little too late on Kite. Waited for the clear, but that was too late, and made him check up and kind of brush the wall a little. And there was nothing I could do to get Liam. My best position, I think, was second, unless somebody, I was running third and something, and they wrecked in front of me. So I'm happy with it. It's a good day for points, and I survived. So.
Yeah, I mean, overall, this race was so aggressive, you could say, from a lot of these drivers trying to make bold moves. But a lot what we were seeing from these cautions was a lot of netcode issues. Were you seeing any of the netcode issues on your end?
No, but of course I don't see the netcode because I see what my client sees at the time. So I never really saw any netcode, but I'm pretty sure if I go back and look at the replay, it would be. For the most part, you had a lot of people driving tight, trying to shove it to the outside, and somebody pushes up, and it gets really, really narrow off the exit of especially 2. With these cars, it narrows up real quick, and so I almost had Liam run in the back of me a couple times because I was going too slow in the exit. He tried to do the crossover, and I couldn't turn. So, yeah, I mean, I didn't see it. I'm sure it happened, but I never saw it. So.
Well, you got a second place position tonight, and I know you wanted the win, but second place after tonight's race seems like pretty much a victory, as there was only 5 cars running at the end of the race. It was a battle of attrition tonight, and we saw a lot of places where a lot of drivers were having problems, particularly in turns 3 and 4, where they would get to the inside and loop it around off of the curb earlier in the race. Was there any part of the track that you think that maybe was the problem spot for you, or was the whole track pretty much easy for you to drive?
Once I got the damage, it tightened the car up. So I think for sure, if you were aggressive on the bottom, you could probably get it to spin, especially early in the race with a little less rubber maybe. And being aggressive with the weight jacker, it would have rotated on me. I think a few times there in the middle of the run toward older tires, I tried to get aggressive, and it felt like the back was coming out from under me. It's hard to say whether it really was, but yeah. I mean, that's essentially what it boiled down to. I think if you were too aggressive with the weight jack or tried to go too hard on the inside, either you'd catch the curb and spin, or it would just rotate the back around right in the middle of 3 and 4. But once it tightened up my car, I never really dealt with that. So.
Yeah, I mean, Jason, you are so close, only a little over 1,000, I mean, hundreds away from getting to Liam Quinn there. You're so close there. But before we let you go, the floor is yours for any shout-outs.
Sure. Thanks, Will, for putting on the race. Maybe I don't want to thank him for giving me the damage, but I appreciate him putting on these races for us each week. It's nice to be able to get in here and run. Liam is a teammate of mine, so congrats to him on winning that race. So coming over for Team Talent, jumping in pretty cold, and I mean, he's run here before, don't get me wrong, but wins at a track I know he's not a huge fan of. Well, at least so. Thanks to him. Thanks for everybody, you guys, for broadcasting. So that's it.
Well, that's Jason Brophy in the 88 machine coming away with the second place finish. And hopefully we'll be able to talk to you next week at Road America there, Jason. I mean, Anthony, a wild race, but the man who was able to conquer it was Liam Quinn, our winner here today. Liam, it's Sam and Anthony. You got us?
Yeah, loud and clear.
I mean, that was a wild race on our end. It looked like you were sitting in the top 5 for most of it and just waited for your time at the end of the race to strike. Overall, I mean, how was that race for you?
A lot better than I deserved. It's not a good track for me, and I don't tend to go very fast. So me and Jason, I think he had damage, so he was riding at the back, and I was riding at the back of that front pack. So when it's 10 to go and there's a caution comes out, it's pretty much anyone's game, really. Whoever sends it the most.
Yeah, I mean, talking about sending it, these drivers were trying to make that inside line work, the outside line work. Where were you feeling most comfortable here on the track?
Under caution. The problem is, the lower you go in turn 1, the more you're going to check up and the more you're going to wash out. And it's tempting to go lower and lower when you push more. And I don't know if you saw when I was fighting, I think with Barrett in that middle stint, I was running low, and then suddenly the grip just completely died on me. So I never really had a good groove, really. It's only when I had low fuel and new tires that I could really put it wherever I wanted.
Speaking of cautions, there was a lot of cautions tonight. And a lot of drivers that ended up going out of the race, and a few of those incidents happened in front of you, specifically a couple where some cars went flipping and almost came back into you. Was any of that a little bit scary, thinking that maybe, this is the end of the race, or did you have confidence in yourself to squeak around them and pull out a fantastic win?
Sometimes you got to get lucky. I had Jason in front calling out the wrecks, so I could kind of see them, but a couple, like I think with the Matt and Danny one, you just have to throw throttle and hope you get through.
Now, Liam, I know this is your only second start of the season. Next week, we're going to Road America. How are you feeling about going to Road America?
Yeah, pretty good. I'm better on road than I'm on oval, so that should be a decent track for me, I think.
Well, Liam, before we let you go, we're actually going to offer the floor up to you for any shout-outs.
Yeah, just shout out to any more teammates on Kinetic and Team Talent.
Well, that's Liam Quinn here at Gateway, getting the win here tonight. A massive win on your part, surviving here. And congratulations on the win, and good luck next week.
Yeah, cheers.
Well, Anthony, as we're wrapping up this race, I mean, overall, what were some of your final thoughts?
You have to put your car in a position to survive at Gateway is what I got from this race. It was a battle of just surviving the track and surviving the way that the cars were handling around the track, more or less, than it was to battle. We saw a lot of close battles, and they were actually really clean battles. And again, the net code is what took out a lot of drivers here tonight. But next week, we go to a completely different racetrack. We go from an egg-shaped oval that's just over a mile long. We go to a 4-mile-long road course, one of the most famous road courses in North America, the Road America circuit in Wisconsin. I am looking forward to that race, and a lot of these drivers are looking forward to that race. As Liam just mentioned, that he is better at road racing than oval racing. And Sam, what are your thoughts next week when we head to Road America?
Next week is going to be a road of redemption for a lot of these drivers. As we know, Riley Thompson dominated at Silverstone last week and hopefully is hoping to get another win notched on his belt so he can continue to move forward in the points. As after today's running and finishing further back in the field where he wanted to be, I think you've got him there, as well as previous road course winner Barrett Rolfe. He's someone to watch out for. So a lot of drivers looking to get their wins and continue moving forward in the points race.
Yeah, and it's closing up too. And by the time we get to Road America, we could have a much closer points battle, as we had the woes of Riley Thompson and Mitch Welker, who were running first and second in the point standings. Welker finishes the day in 7th, and Thompson finishes the day in 11th, both out of the race. It's going to be a closer points battle going into next week. I still think that Thompson is going to hold the lead, but it's definitely going to be a much closer fight once we get there.
Yeah, the factor to watch out for are drop weeks, but after today's race, a lot of drivers are excited to see that we're leaving Worldwide Technology Raceway and going on to a different course, as this has been a wild race. So like we said, surviving this race, only 5 of the 18 cars that started this race off were able to finish out this race, but man, a wild one for sure. Anthony, I want to say thank you again for hopping into the booth and getting to watch this wild action.
It's always fun to do IndyCar, and it's always fun to commentate with you. And I'm looking forward to next week. And I keep getting excited for open wheel racing. It's my favorite form of racing. And again, really excited to head to Wisconsin next week.
Yeah, it's going to be a blast to watch, as all these drivers hungry for more wins, and the Road Course Warriors are hungry to show off their prowesses again. For here at Worldwide Technology Raceway, it is over. It is done. Liam Quinn in the 4 Machine gets the victory here, but the racing action from FRN, that continues on tomorrow night, as we've got our Rapid Fire National Series. They're going to be racing at Las Vegas, as they're still underway with playoffs, trying to figure out who will be making it to the round of 8. As those drivers are figuring that out, we've also got more racing action on Saturday with FTF Racing, as well as the Veteran of Foreign War Cup Series. So those are some of the upcoming racing action for us in the Fuel iRacing in the Fuel IndyCar Series. These drivers get to go to Road America next week. Excited to see that action. And for myself, Sam Dyer, and for Anthony McCurry, thank you for watching another presentation of the Flatout Racing Network, and have a great rest of your night.